Testing, just testing the YouTube live.
Dr. Helen, is it stormy at all outside that window?
No, it's quite cloudy and I think getting a little darker, but no raindrops yet.
Okay.
What are you getting up there at 555?
It kind of looked, we're looking through the, those colored windows, so it looked a little dark and I wasn't exactly sure. But we have a couple...
Jim, I'm still in your neighborhood, and right here where I'm at, it looks great.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and I'm sitting right by a window looking out into my backyard.
All right.
So it's not time yet for that rain. We won't let it happen.
All right. Yeah, we had plenty the other night, so.
James?
Hi.
James?
I gotcha.
Do they call you Jim or do they call you James?
Jim. Yeah.
Thank you. I don't want to call you what you don't like.
Okay.
All righty.
What was the old country thing? Call me anything you want, just don't call me late for supper.
Right. Absolutely.
You have that absolutely right. David, did you see in the newspaper where Jim Powers and his wife celebrated their 50th anniversary?
Yes, that was a lovely picture, and I'm waiting for him to come on so I can congratulate him.
And then we'll all come off a mute and clap for him?
There you go. Let's do that.
Okay. All right. You do the wishing, and then we'll all come off mute and clap.
Okay.
That's quite an accomplishment.
Yes, it is.
I missed it by 2 years. My husband departed from me 2 years prior to. I told him he had to hang on till 50, but the good Lord decided to take him before then.
Oh, dear.
I worked hard at my marriage and deserved my 50th.
There you go. Well, it's highly unlikely Wealth and I will hit 50. We started late. That's the genteel way of saying it.
Well, you never can tell. Life does strange things. You might live to be 100, both of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, enjoy every day while you can.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. One of these days, we're going to get to meet Christina in live, touchy situation, so we can see what she looks like outside of that little teeny picture up there.
Oh, well, she's, as far as being a good help, she's spectacular.
Good. Glad to hear that. She's hearing us because I can see her smiling.
Well, I would echo that. No, Christina, you have been most impressive for right out of the blocks, as it were.
Thank you.
Are you blushing, Christina?
A little bit.
Good.
A real small thing, but surprisingly helpful at these meetings is your pagination.
You think the girl had an experience in stuff like this before, wouldn't you?
Yes, I try to be tolerant in life, but your predecessors sometimes overlooked that. And then we'd be at the, well, this was when we were around the table, you know, all whomever of us were there would be furiously going back and forth, trying to look for it, looking over your shoulder to the next person. It was frustrating, but rather comical. So now things are orderly and I love it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that works for me too, because I kept sitting next. I sit next to David, and so I kept looking at him to see what page he was on because I never knew what. Financing is not my thing, so if I don't have something to follow like page numbers, I'm lost through the whole thing. Why they ever put me on this committee, I don't know, because I'm no good with numbers. There's times I can't even remember my own phone number.
Good evening.
Good evening, John Alverson.
Well, let me get some backlighting here in my glasses.
Reminder for all those on the call, we are live on YouTube.
How's everyone doing? You're all looking good.
As yourself, you are appearing in the paper so often. You should be called a regular.
Yeah, not my favorite. Okay. Not always for the good things, right? I mean,
What do you mean not always for the good things? I haven't seen anything negative.
Oh, here's Charlotte calling me. It must be something.
Okay, she heard us talking.
Charlotte, your board is on the line. Your board is on Zoom.
John, well, I have a chance to ask, is your practice fully open at this point?
Yeah, we've been fully open since early May. Well, no, we've been open since May. Hygiene's been since about the second week of June. So we're fully going now, but we've got some limitations that we're doing.
I see.
Yeah, we're limiting aerosols, so no ultrasonic units for the hygienists, but we're doing a lot of kind of emergency or necessary treatment decay and such like that. So
Okay.
we're fully operational, but we're taking it kind of slow.
Which I think is very wise these days.
I think so too, especially in the last 2 weeks.
Well, now that John's here and James Powers is here, I would like to be the one to say your picture in the paper, Jim, was noticed with you and your lovely wife on your 50th wedding anniversary.
Oh, happy anniversary.
Happy
And
anniversary.
the financial
Thank you.
committee would like to give you a hand.
Cheers. How about that?
Thank
Congratulations.
you, Dr. Helen. Wow. Yes. No. It was an exciting celebration. 400 people.
Wow.
What? I'm
Kidding.
surprised Todd Marshall
Just
wasn't here to
kidding.
bust it.
No, it was a COVID era celebration with just the two of us. But we had a really great day. So
Great.
thank you for noticing that. I appreciate that.
Well, happy anniversary. That's very nice.
Thank
Happy
you.
anniversary, because I only get the electronic version. They don't have all those social pages on there, but that's great.
Ah,
On my electric version, I did see it.
Yeah, I just get the headlines maybe. It's the
Is
little,
that all you? And I did, it was what, Sunday's paper, I think.
yes,
And
Sunday's
I was-
paper, because that was the exact day of the 50th wedding anniversary.
really?
Yes.
Very nice.
You know, it was a nice write-up.
All right, I'm gonna go back online and get it.
It really took, very honestly, it took a lot of finagling with our local paper to ensure that that made its way into the paper.
Really?
Eventually, I had to really, so little is done here anymore. Had to end up dealing with someone down in Peoria, who luckily I found somebody here that it was one of those things. You've got to find who knows who. You got to get somebody that answers the phone,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, blah, 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 blah. But anyway, we eventually hooked up, you know, in terms of this gal down in Peoria, and she was really great to work with. So we benefited from that. So it was good. It was really good.
Excellent.
You did well then. You're your own reporter then, because, you know, you got through the process. Okay.
Got through I know. Was the only way. Only way. Jamie, how are you?
Good. How are you? Sorry, I was having some internet issue here.
Oh dear.
I know.
There we go. I found it on the online version.
Aha.
There we go. Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, very nice.
Luckily, we took, we had a really special trip planned this summer, which obviously wasn't going to take place. And so luckily, we've made it our 50th anniversary year we were celebrating. And therefore, we've done special things. And we inaugurated it with what's in the article, with, a cruise to 4 of the Hawaiian Islands. And so it's a good thing we did that, because other than that, it would have been a even smaller ceremony along the way. So anyway, we were very fortunate. So, well, thank you for finding the picture in terms of that.
Yeah, no, I had to go online and I had to get my full, version up then. But, you think about during this pandemic, we've had several of our employees have canceled wedding plans or postponed them. Others have modified it. We've had babies born. And I said, and if you celebrated a birthday, you get to count backward because your birthday didn't happen. So that you go in the Wayback Machine. But we were kind of talking about doing a little something fun, just, a day of, for all the missed graduations and celebrations and anniversaries. And, there's, as you would guess, as we go through this longer and longer, there's lots of that and still a lot of sweetness and a lot of happiness.
Exactly. Well, are we all here? It looks like we've got a full house tonight.
We got a full house.
Okay, Jamie.
Cool.
Or John.
Jamie.
Jamie. Are we ready?
Yeah. Well, we're ready, but you're gonna have to bear with me in case I'm a little wonky in the connectivity, because you're all frozen on my screen.
Oh.
Okay.
At least we're there.
But
Well, at least we're there.
the voice work? You can still hear me?
We
Yes.
can still hear you.
You
You're
just
All
can't
right.
see my. Okay. So we will call the July 1st Board of Health Finance Committee meeting to order. And we have the approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Okay.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next, we have the major expenditure requests. For health protection, we have laptop computers, monitors, wireless keyboard, mouse, and headsets. The actual amount is $149,712.03. That's true and accurate.
So moved.
Yes.
Second.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion?
This is a purchase, not a lease,
All
correct?
in favor?
Oh,
Okay, that's correct. It is a purchase. And you can see it's coming out of the CDW government side of it. And this is out of the contact tracing. So this
right.
will come out of the contact tracing funds.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. New computers and such it is. Next, we have the health protection. We have 51 MyTel phones, wireless routers, cabling, switches for IT infrastructure for work area to be performed by Winnebago County IT. This is in the amount of $53,778.
So moved.
Second.
We had a motion. I didn't hear it.
I
We
did
did
have
have
a
a second from Jim.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have health protection for office furniture for contact tracing program in the amount of $112,200.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Second. Aye.
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 And you will be seeing some more stuff at the next board meeting. We've got the carpet and some other, I don't know how that's going to come through, Jim, or paint. I don't think it's going to be over 3,000 because it's tying up in the lease, but we're getting ready, obviously, to bring on the contact tracers on board. And so these will be flexible workstations that remain in that suite for rental after we're completed with that project. So it'll give us a chance to remodel that third floor a little bit to make it functional for the next tenants after we are done with, after the pandemic's over and we don't need to contact trace anymore.
Okay.
Be optimistic.
I like that positive attitude.
Okay, so now we're gonna go to is it page 13?
Page 13.
Yes.
Okay. The University of Illinois, UIC reference number CN 00034073, amendment number 3, the drug overdose prevention program. You want to give us a summary of what the?
Yeah, and I need to get you what the dollar amounts are because I see that that's not included in the packet. This is the physician consultant for the drug overdose prevention program that reviews the overdoses associated, and this is part of the naloxone tracing program. So give me a second here. And Jim, do you know the number off the top of your head? I'm pulling up one of the screens here, so I'll just.
No, I don't.
Are we looking for the amount?
Yes. Because it's not stated, because we have a multi-year
I don't
contract.
see it.
No, it's not listed in that agreement. It should have a major expenditure associated with it, but I'm gonna look it up now. It's gonna take me a minute. If you want to go on to the accepting, I guess we could go down and I'll look it up while we're doing the grant agreements that are being accepted. If that's allowable.
We're going to put 3A and 3B to the side, right?
Right.
Correct.
So we're going to page 17.
Correct.
All right. So we have the Substance Use Prevention Recovery Services fiscal period 7/1/2020 to 6/30/2021. The original amount was $152,886. It is increased by $10,000, giving us $162,886.
So moved.
Second.
Is there a second?
I did second.
Maybe there wasn't.
There was a second.
Didn't hear it. Any discussion? Okay, any discussion?
No.
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. The next we have Family Case Management, Better Birth Outcomes, 7/1/2020 to 6/30/2021. The original amount was $248,000. It increased by $6,200, bringing us to $254,200.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next, we have the High Risk Infant Follow-Up, 7/1/2020 to 6/30/2021. The original amount was $210,000. It increased by $16,800. The total is now $226,800.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
None.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 So that takes us through the grants.
Okay.
Are we ready to go back to 3A and 3B?
Yes, we are. So agreement number 1 is for the drug overdose prevention agreement. That's the 000-34073. And that is in the dollar amount of $7,800. So $7,800.
Okay.
What kind of time does that get us
It's
per month? Or
That's a little bit different on this agreement, Dr. Halverson. This is oversight of the naloxone program. So they review the protocols. They also review any deaths associated where there's been a rescue. So they provide the medical guidance as it changes. So it's not an hourly based, it's for the consultation.
okay, thank you.
Move
Any further
acceptance.
discussion? Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Maybe there was. I didn't hear it. Okay, sorry. All in
We
favor?
ordered some extra speakers. Can we go back to that first order?
I know. Well, once we get through these two, I'm going to power down and reconnect. So when we get to the budget part. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Next, we have University of Illinois UIC reference number CN-00035659, amendment number 2 for medical advisor women's health.
And this is in the dollar amount of $21,420.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, those passed. Now we're on to the budget, correct?
Correct.
So that's page 18.
Yes.
Okay, and Jim and Dr. Martell, you're gonna take this over, this section?
Yes.
I'm gonna restart my computer.
Okay.
Okay, I'll be back. if you're lucky, or maybe if
Oh, if you're lucky.
Soon.
We're very fortunate to have you.
Okay, budget.
All right. Okay, page 18 it's unchanged from the last meeting. That's the existing currently staffed FTEs, 81 full-time and 1 part-time. For a budget total of 4,383,194.09.
Okay,
And then on page 19, at the very top with the new positions, we have one more specialist for the DOP program that you'll see is over in the right-hand total of $50,035.44. That's in addition to what we had listed at our meeting a week ago. That's for the DOP grant where they added the rapid deployment and opioid treatment program in there. In discussions with Cheryl, she would utilize another individual on that particular grant. So, and it certainly is funded.
Is there a better definition of what specialist entitles, or?
For this, the specialist is the generic category with the county, but we would call it a prevention specialist.
Right.
Is what we refer to in our grant and here at the health department.
Okay, thank you.
The eliminated positions would remain the same as they did last week. So we'd have the 5 full-time positions eliminated, and then the vacant positions have not changed at all. They're 21 full-time and 5 part-time.
okay,
And then on page 20, the contact tracing team that remains the same for last week. So the only real change is the addition of that prevention specialist.
So is that different from the 2 other specialists in the vacant position? So are we looking for a total of 3?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
And what are the 2 positions? What are they specialists in that we are looking for?
One of them is another prevention specialist in that DOP program. So there
Okay.
were 2, and the other one is a communications coordinator or assistant to the PIO here. So those are both in the specialist category.
Okay, thank you.
okay.
So that leaves a grand total with of $8,248,739.69 for budgeted wages for fiscal 2021.
Okay,
So if that's acceptable, I guess that's going to be the position control that I submit to the county.
okay. Now, you don't need a vote from us in order to submit that, correct?
Need-
No, we take it in August. Remember, Jim, we'll take, the finance committee will move to advance the budget to the full board. And then from the full board, you'll adopt it, and then we will advance it to the county.
Right. I wasn't sure, I realized that. I wasn't sure based on, what Jim was saying, whether there was some new intermediate step that I wasn't aware of. But it doesn't sound like it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, you don't have to make a motion on that, but you'll see this incorporated then into the full budget
Okay,
when we present that in 2 weeks.
got it.
All right, and then moving on to page 21, I have the schedule of revenues. They've changed slightly, reflecting some of those increases in the grants that we went over earlier on the agenda. And then, so currently we have a total for 2021 of 14,719,283 as compared to what our budget was in 2020 of 11,737,646. So that's really what we're looking at now.
Okay.
Obviously, as more information comes in, but I think it's pretty accurate right now. So
Okay.
we'll move on to page 22. This is the fiscal year 2021 budget, the expenditures, which on the very top line for the health fund in aggregate come to 14,602,278.46. The personnel grouping total is almost 11 million. It's 10,956,000 and $3.69. Jamie, we're on page 22.
Thank you.
Okay. The regular salaries on the one line is comparable to what we did in 2020. That's 5,652,584.49. The temporary is the contact tracing team that would be here for 12 to 24 months, but on an annual basis, plus our temporary flu team that comes in during flu season. So that's like 2,596,155.20.
When will those temporary tracers start?
Well, we're going to try and start them, as soon as we can in August, and hope to be very well ramped up by the 1st of September.
And how many people are we hiring total?
51. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Okay.
So as far as then we go down to the health insurance, which I'm budgeting, conservatively $1,858,847, and by conservative I mean a healthy amount, because it's very difficult to manage. I mean, the new group that we get on, will they be somewhere between, absolutely no premium that we pay for them if they have a spouse with coverage? Will it be a single plan, in the $750 range, or a family plan with $2,200 per FTE? So we just kind of have to make our best estimate, and then, I kind of go conservative on that. So that's a very large expenditure. And then, obviously there's, rate changes that, we anticipate as well, but it's something that we, have to keep a very close watch on. And then there's the other employee benefits for IMRF and Social Security. So all that totals those items almost $11 million. And then the supplies and services of $3,492,074.78, about halfway down the page, is all these expenditures below it, which I've reviewed historically and then anticipated the increases with our new program, and some of the larger expenditures we have for additional building rents, additional utilities, additional expenses. And then we had some reduction in expenses because this year we are not the lead agency in our Ryan White program, where we were paying bills for the project of the Quad Cities and DeKalb and Whiteside counties as kind of a pass-through. So those have been extracted out. And so I've gone through each and every one of those expenses and tried to give a best estimate based on what we've done the last year, and then factor in some of those different circumstances. So, and then down below on page 28, We have, estimated capital outlays of 154,200, which is our office furniture and equipment and some data processing equipment, mostly related to our contact tracing grant. So on page 28, in summary, we have the revenues with the schedules of all the grants and fees and the levy of 14,719,283.26, and expenditures of 14,602,78.46, with an excess or a surplus of revenues over expenditures of a little over 117,000, and that's for the health fund.
So you
Good.
want to, so that 117,000 will go into the emergency health fund?
That would be the excess. That would increase our fund balance. So add to the, the $9 million that $9 million plus that we have every month. So conservatively, we would end with a surplus of just a little over 117,000.
Nice.
Okay. And then on page 29, we have the 555 North Court Fund. And so I've gone through and estimated all those expenses with roughly, with some additional repairs, maybe absorbing some of the painting and the carpet we were talking about, and came up with a total, which is $755,900, which includes supplies and services, and then other expenses. And the other expenses are quite, it's the bond payment fund, and then non-cash depreciation of 229,000. So then as we get to a summary or a summation of the building fund, or the 555 North Court Fund, on page 31, we'll have estimating rental income with our additions that were, the space we're leasing, to $622,022.50, and the fund expenditures of $755,900, which would leave us with an excess of expenditures over revenues of almost 134,000. So if we combine the two, we're very close to even, and actually, I have a $17,000 deficit. But so I think the idea is we want to, perform and enhance our facility and enhance the public welfare and health. So, I know it's kind of a lot, but if you have any questions, I mean, you can,
the capital expenditure budget, are you going to develop a separate capital?
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to put together a better, more delineated schedule for that.
Okay. We've been talking back and forth here. So we've gotten some estimates on our elevator replacement. They're probably more expensive than anything we've got, which is, today we heard about what, 200,000 for that elevator?
Yeah, and very casual talk. So, 104,000 for this, and then 100,000 for that. And, I mean, my goodness. So we're just, I think they're putting together some more solid quotes, and then we just need to follow through and make sure that that we're set up and they execute towards those.
Well, and I think in years past, we put together a capital budget, but the county didn't really operate a capital budget. But we knew we had to replace the what we call the employee elevator in the back, which blows the fuse. So the estimate is on the recabling, the electrical service to it. The actual box and frame is going to remain the same, but all the controls. We also have to, the controller in our front elevator is apparently at an end of life. It's no longer going to be maintained by the company. And so we will have to put that in the capital budget as well. So we are putting those together. So the renting of the space on our third floor helps us with carpeting, things like that. Some of those in-kind, I'm going to call it expenses as a way to eventually hopefully make that a more rentable space when we're done with it to the outside, as well as then being able to invest in some of the infrastructure that we've got to plan for at this building. It's hard. I'm sure you can all recall how long you've been here, but the years fly by, don't they?
Oh. All right, so now, what do we need to do now?
Well, Jamie, we're presenting this, we'll present it in a more formal format with in 2 weeks for the budget for you to advance or to adopt. And
Okay.
for the next week and a half, if you have questions or concerns or want to know more about it, then Jim can provide the detailed schedules behind it, or we can clarify and or, if we're missing something that you think is.
So does anybody have any questions on what we see currently?
I think it's very well laid out and organized.
I would second that.
Yeah, I do too.
Then, as more pertinent information comes to light, then we, like to reflect that as well, because we want to work with the most current information we have.
And we're going to move forward on some of these. You'll see next month, next month, in the next couple of weeks, we'll probably have some more major expenditures as well as part of the finance committee as we get ready for this contact tracing grant. And as an aside, we also learned, it's in the news that local health departments will be receiving some funding through I'm going to get this one, is it part of it's coronavirus, it's the CURES Act in Illinois. So we have the CARES Act and the CURES Act. Okay, so some of the larger metropolitan areas got money out of the CARES Act. Now it's coming out to others in the CURES Act. And those are for coronavirus expenses going backwards. So we might be able to move some of our money around that we spent as part of this, as part of the response, and be able to move that forward into some of our capital areas for, getting some of the building parts replaced. So we do anticipate, we don't know when, that was just announced yesterday by the governor. Today's July 1st. So Happy New Year. Jim already wished us a Happy New Year today. But we will expect to see that funding coming through as well, some funding related to that, because it'll be based and it will come through our local health protection grant, it looks like, Jim.
Yeah.
These are all happening before we can even blink an eye as we sit and, read an email that comes in as I'm sitting here. I guess that's the good news. We're going to get things that we hadn't anticipated in a positive way.
Hooray.
Okay.
Okay.
So what's next? What do we need to do next? We're going to get a formal thing. Nobody has any questions, comments, or concerns on this version.
Sure. I always have questions. If we look on page 29 of 31, I just want a clarification, Jim.
Okay.
Our actual operating fund for 2020 was actually only $77,000 approximately, but we budgeted $809,000. Is that correct?
That was the county's number for revised budget, because they have in there, that's.
So did they give us $800,000 of which we only used 77? So do we have a surplus? I know we don't get to keep it and carry it over, but of $720,000, or am I misreading this?
Well, it's a little, what happens is they, at the end of the year, they post an expense for $230,000 for
At service.
depreciation, and then almost 300,000 for debt service. So actually, where we're actually running with, it's the supplies and services is primarily the operating expenses of this building fund,
Mhm.
which are 284,000 is what we had in the budget, and we've only run 77,000 as of the end of May, and we're estimating in that right to the rate of 116,000. And it's because of some of the replacements that they haven't done, or we've also had they're on some type of energy program that's a lot more cost effective than it has been in the past. So that's why we have such a huge swing there. But it's primarily related to what you would see on page 30, where they have other expense, which is huge, which is
Right, the 525,000.
right. And in their books, they're making these debt service or reduction, but they aren't running it through this fund, even though
So what does debt service expense consist of?
well, it's like the mortgage on the building. Every year there's a schedule to repay the bond.
Bond, wasn't it? Yeah, this was issued through a bond.
Yeah, and this year's it's 296,000, but they make one payment, and I don't see where they've recorded it in this fund in either 18 or in 19. So I have
So
to.
is it an actual cash transaction?
Yeah, because they have to pay down their debts that they've issued.
So, and this year too, Jim, and probably Angie knows, they refinanced some of their debt service. So
Yeah, we did.
refinanced some of their bonds. So again, that may be why they're holding back on that, on the payment.
But that is actually
Yeah, but that makes no sense, because if fiscal year ended and it's we're on a cash-based system, how are they going to make that effective?
Good
Well,
question.
yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking it was paid through another fund, and I can ask their finance director at the county and try and trace it through the munis books, but that's yeah, it is confusing. And I think let me look into that and get you a better answer.
Well, if it's 296, there's 296,000 in 49,110 that says transfer to other funds.
Right.
Yeah.
That would be the principal payments that they would make to reduce the debt on this building. But they aren't running that, and there's a provision for it. They just aren't running it through the books here. They're making it through another fund, I'm assuming, or they would be in default. So
that probably, Angie, they'll probably be one. It's a bank account. I think we need to make sure that they make those entries, or they decide where they're transferring it to, because I don't, they have in years past, typically at the end of the fiscal, will do that debt service transfer and the transfer on the principal as a journal entry and move the cash over.
right.
Well, that would make sense.
But there's a couple of little lapse things going on, as you would guess. But I think that we still budget for it, because you know that it will come.
Oh, sure, you have to budget for it. You would like to see it completed.
Well, it's kind of like the capital. We always budget a capital plan. If you remember, we did the windows, the carpet. I think we had something else in there. And every year they're like, we're like, why didn't you pull the capital into a capital budget? Well, they never really had a multi-year capital budget. I
That's
know.
exactly right.
And
Having
so-
a capital, that's not a word they understand, a capital budget. I mean, a capital improvements. That's something we've been looking for a long time.
Well, I mean, you know, maybe things will change this new year if you get a new administrator.
Yeah, well, you make the sign of the cross, pray, would you?
We're counting on it, Jamie.
Mhm.
It's hard to count on something you don't have, though. The money is so short right now that they're moving it from one place to another, and I just, that's why I'm not on finance, because I don't understand the whole thing. You're all much smarter than I am when it comes to that. But I also know that they have robbed Peter to pay Paul, to pay John, to pay, you know. And so I think it's all got caught up finally, and let's hope we can get this straightened out. But our revenues have got to start increasing. Then I don't know why they have that building under their bond program. Are you saying that when they refinance the bonds, they're refinancing your building?
I think they took all of the county bonds, Angie, and we have that. I was asking Steve Chapman to clarify this, that there was a discussion about whether this bond was included, because when they purchased the building, there was a bond issued on it, right? And so we were doing the debt save, it's really the bond repayment. And so the question is, when they refinanced all the county bonds, did they include this building in the bond refinance?
That's why nothing ever gets paid off.
Yeah, well.
That's my opinion.
I think that's been the opinion of many about, wow, how many years are we paying on these buildings?
It's like, how many times can I refinance my house and take cash out of it?
Well, we kind of said, you know, if we can, to pay ahead so we could own the building sooner, right? Especially at these low interest, you know, at this point, it makes sense to, but again, you know, if you don't have enough operating capital at the county level, they have to make decisions regarding how they move finances. But I mean, it was a strategic decision for us to lease our own space in the building with the contact tracers. We not only to hire the people, but also lease space in the building to support, you know, the building being paid.
You know, I don't remember us paying that much for the building.
You mean the original bill of sale, Angie?
Yes.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Because if we're putting $296,000 towards it each year, seems to me it should have been paid off a long time ago.
Thank you.
Unless I'm misreading this, but.
Well, we'll get Jim on.
If we did this, I think we bought this, about 10 years ago, this building? I know at first we had lots of rehab to do with it. If you remember, when we bought the building, there was a restaurant and bar on the top floor. And that whole building had to be revamped for the health department. And, well, that's what I remember of it. I wasn't, you know, I just hope we get that place sold over on Division and can put part of that on, or all of it on this building, so we can get this building paid off. What are you laughing at?
I like the thought. I'm not sure I see it. I see the building selling. I'm not sure I see it.
Just so you know, this was, I pulled up an old document for the appraisal on the building. It's dated.
Which building?
December 21st of 2009.
Okay.
And
or the
yeah,
it was an as is, was 775,000, 775,000.
And we haven't paid it off in 11 years at 296,000 a year.
look.
Hollywood accounting.
We will make inquiries on that, because
Yeah,
every,
I think we need to gather some information.
Well, yeah, and typically if your debt service is constant, then the principal is highest as you get towards the end of your payment book.
Right.
Well, yeah,
Because
but even if that's $3.2 million.
Yeah, yeah.
I know at first we had lots of repairs to make to that building,
Yeah.
lots of them.
There was a purchase price, and I think the repairs were
estimated,
that again or something.
you guys, the estimated remodeling, from what I can gather, again, these are just old files, I don't see a confirmed purchase, was 517,000.
2/3.
We're still about 2 million short.
Agreed.
Well,
I love you people with a mathematics.
Maybe we're gonna get a refund.
Yeah, how about that? Let me know when you do, would you?
I don't mean to be the stirrer of the pot here. Jim, I just want one other clarification because some of this I don't pick up. On page 29, 31, we have the proposed fiscal year 2021, 809,000 and change, 810,000.
Hmm.
Next to it, right to the right, the fiscal year 2021 supplemental request. Is that on top of that? Are we looking at a proposal and request of $1.5 million? Or what is the difference between those two columns?
Well, the outside column is what I calculated and what we would propose as a budget. The column next to it is what the county put together in their format here to just say that.
Similar to the 2020, which
Right.
incorporates all these transfers and such. Okay.
So they indicated, Jim, right, to make, so we're clear, they estimated and gave us the starting number of 800,000 to work with.
Yeah, that's what they calculated, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I'm just repeating it. So yeah.
I just wasn't sure if that was on top of the 809, 755, or if that was, that's your calculations. And the second is what they're going to propose. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments, concerns, ideas?
I think, Jim, if we can get from Steve Chapman a more complete with Molly on this building the 4, even if we can send an email out for people for clarification on the debt service and the repayment, and where we are at in paying off the building, what's the balance due?
Okay. Yeah, because if they did consolidate it into one of their debt service funds, we should know about it.
Yeah, we should know about it, but I'm not sure we would have necessarily been involved in it.
Right.
Because they still need to tell you about it, in all fairness.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you be laughing. I've been putting up with this budget thing for 15 years, and all I've ever seen it do is get worse than better. In fact, before some of you came aboard, they wanted to outsource the health department so that they could use our reserves. That didn't go over very big at all because they can't do that because of the way the health department is set up. But they've had some really trying years, and that's one reason they wanted to sell River Bluff because it was costing some money because of the reserves that we had were being used. So it's been a struggle for the last 8 years. It really has. See where it goes from here.
Okay. Do we need an executive session?
No.
No. Do
When's
we
our
have next Wednesday? Are we meeting next Wednesday?
Wednesdays, isn't it?
Two Wednesdays?
2 Wednesdays, 2 weeks.
2 Wednesdays.
So we'll be meeting on the 25th.
Yes.
The 15th.
And you're gonna
No,
go on,
the 15th.
15th.
The 15th.
2 weeks from today, Wednesday the 15th.
oh, Angie, put your glasses on. Thank you. Oh, yeah, I see it now. Okay,
And then our board meeting is the 21st.
21st. Yep.
you have
Yes.
that one down.
At that point, the budget will be brought to the
Full
entire board, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jim.
Okay.
So do we have any additions?
Nope.
Nope.
I just want to make sure I had that all down in my book right.
And Sandra, you are off on vacation, correct?
I am off next week. That is right. So Cynthia and Christina and the whole team will be backing it up.
All right. Well, enjoy your time.
Yes, enjoy your time.
Really? Get some sleep.
I know. I can't wait to just, I'll be honest, not to, be thinking about coronavirus all the time.
All right.
You'll be sleeping about it and dreaming about it while you're gone.
Oh, I know. They say that that's, just as an aside from some of the studies that are coming out about what do people experience post-coronavirus, they say that there is a significant sleep disorder associated with people who have had coronavirus and been hospitalized.
Really?
As in increased
Yes.
sleep or decreased?
Decreased, a lot of dreaming regarding inability to breathe,
Oh,
things like that. So, this is a kind of a messy little virus. It doesn't, it's not just, we don't know what the long-term consequences are. So I always say, stay safe, avoid as many risks as you can, but get out and enjoy some things. Yeah, this is the best time of the year around here, right?
Yeah. And that means we're all going to be on CPAP machines before too long.
oh my God.
Think about it. If you can't sleep at night because you think that you're suffocating, that's the best thing to be on.
Oh, man.
Do you need a motion for adjournment?
We do. Thank you.
Yeah.
Second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great 4th of July.
Thank you.
Well, you have wonderful.
I
Good
will.
night. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Night.
Good night. Thanks for running the live.